So after your first hour in Conan Exiles, you've probably realized two things. First, you need resources for absolutely everything. And second, your inventory is somehow already full of rocks. Welcome to Conan. In this episode, we're covering the tools, harvesting systems, and resource farming basics the game barely explains, because gathering efficiently early on saves you hours later. This could be the difference between I can finally build things and why do I somehow need 14,000 more stone. New players usually think tools are simple. Hit a rock, get a rock. But Conan actually has a resource priority system. Different tools harvest different amounts of different materials from the same object, and understanding this early on matters a lot. This is the first major thing you need to learn. On stone nodes, you'll want to use a pick over a hatchet as they'll give you double the amount of stone per hit. On trees, a hatchet will give you wood and a pick will give you bark. So if you need wood, use your hatchet. If you need bark for tanning later, use your pick on the trees. The game never really explains this clearly, but it becomes extremely important as crafting chains get more advanced. Early on, you'll want to craft the following things as soon as possible. A stone pick, a stone hatchet, a stone skinning knife, a water skin if you did not get one in the starting area, and a bedroll, and don't forget to place it down. The skinning knife especially is important because it massively improves hide and meat harvesting from animals, and hide becomes critical very quickly once armor crafting starts. Every tool has durability, and yes, our tools are going to break constantly early game. That's very normal. Repairing tools requires the same materials you used to craft the item originally. So for stone tools, you'll need stone, branches, and plant fiber depending on the tool. Always carry a few extra materials with you. Nothing is worse than finding a massive resource area and having your pick break 10 seconds into harvesting and you have no branches. Forget crocodiles. Your biggest enemy right now is weight. Every item has a carry weight, and if you overload yourself, you'll move slower, you'll dodge worse, and your stamina will drain faster. And eventually, you'll become a sad, exhausted backpack with legs. Early on, you should carry only essentials. Do not hoard every random item you see. This hurts my inner loot goblin, but it is a lot easier for new players to focus only on necessary resources. You can always come back to this area later. Here are the resources you should focus on most early game. Stone, which is needed for building, furnaces, crafting stations, tools, and weapons. You will always need more stone. Always. Wood, which is needed for fuel, building, crafting stations, and weapons. Wood disappears fast once you start building seriously. Plant fiber, this is probably the most underestimated early resource. It's needed for twine, bandages, clothing, beds, armor, and repairs. Never ignore fiber. Hide. This resource starts becoming important right about now. You'll need hide for armor, leather, water skins, and other late game crafting. Kill smaller animals early game for safe hide farming. Now to talk about the best early farming route. For beginners, the river is still your safest farming area. Run along the riverbanks and gather stone from rocks, wood from trees, fiber from bushes, and food from animals. The river gives almost every early game material, and safely. Do not build a huge castle yet. A lot of new players hit a wall because they start building giant houses too early, and then suddenly they have no stone, no wood, no storage, no stamina, and no happiness. Keep your first shelter relatively small. You're building for functionality right now, not a medieval resort. You'll want to craft storage boxes early on. Your inventory fills up constantly in Conan. Separate your materials in different boxes if possible. So you'll want to have a box for stone, one for wood, one for fiber, one for food, and one for hide. Organization sounds boring until you spend 20 minutes trying to remember where you put all of your materials. Different tools also affect animal harvesting. A hatchet gives you more meat, a pick gives you more bone, a skinning knife gives you more hide. This matters later for advanced crafting and alchemy materials. But for now, the skinning knife is going to be your best general-purpose harvesting tool for animals. Conan Exiles is a heavily resource-driven game. The faster you gather your resources, the faster you can level, build, and unlock progression. Efficient gathering saves literal hours over time. Bad gathering habits follow players all the way into endgame. Those resources near you do respawn over time, but if you build directly on top of resource nodes, they will eventually stop respawning entirely. This becomes important when choosing permanent base locations later. So if you suddenly build a house in the middle of your favorite stone field, you might have accidentally just deleted your entire income source. At this stage, your gameplay loop should look like this. gather resources, craft better tools, complete journey steps, store materials, cook food, expand slightly, and repeat. Simple progression is the foundation of Conan. Do not rush. The game gets much harder later, I promise. You'll still want to avoid any giant creatures, large camps, any of the northern regions, and caves unless you're truly prepared. Right now, your job is stability, not heroism. At this point in the game, you should have some basic tools, a little bit of resources stockpiled in a box or two, solid food income, storage boxes, obviously, to store those resources, and a better understanding of harvesting. Now that you actually understand how gathering works, next episode we finally build your first real base properly. Not a random box, not a panic shack, an actual functional beginner base with crafting space, storage, and room to expand. Because once iron starts showing up, things get serious very quickly. Thanks for watching, Exiles. Until next time, keep crafting, keep surviving, and I'll see you in the exiled lands.